Hey everybody, this is Keith here of Euphoria Pictures. Welcome back to my channel. Right, so for this video I'm going to be showing off my recent 4K Blu-ray pickups. It is going to consist of 5 movies. Like I said, 5 4K movies, and one of them is a Steelbook edition. And for the most part, all these movies are fantastic. The only problem is 1 or 2 have questionable 4K transfers. So let's not waste any time, let's get right into it. And we're going to start with a questionable transfer. And we have got Waterworld. Now, one of the reasons to why I wasn't in a rush to pick this movie up on 4K is just for the simple fact that I actually had the limited edition Arrow set of Waterworld. Now, this is only a Blu-ray edition of it, but I remember seeing this movie on their restoration of this movie, and I thought it looked absolutely amazing, and I was quite content to stick with this. It also has 3 different cuts of the movie as well, where the 4K release only has 2. And I have to admit, I probably should have stuck to my guns and just left with this, just stayed with the Arrow release, because I was a little underwhelmed by the 4K transfer in this. Now, it's not terrible. It really, really isn't. It does look good, and it actually does look better than the Arrow release, but it's only minor. It really, really is. But what really pissed me off with this was, and I've seen it so many times on 4K, is you do get 2 cuts. So there's an extended cut of this, and it adds an extra 40 minutes to the movie. And unfortunately, it's only available on the Blu-ray, not the 4K disc. How many times has that happened? I've seen it, and the weird thing about it is it gives them an excuse now to go back to this movie and re-release it on 4K with the extended footage. I've already seen it now happen with The Martian. They've done it with that, where they brought out a regular release of it, and then of course they brought out the extended cut of it on 4K. The picture on this was, yeah, it was just, I was slightly let down by it, put it that way. It's just I was expecting a bigger upgrade than we got. I should have known. I should have just, like I said, just stuck to my guns, stuck with the Arrow release, because it already looked amazing on that Blu-ray release. But like I said, it's an upgrade. Just don't be expecting too much from it. There is a little bit of inconsistency with the HDR colours in this as well. You'll see it with some of the water. There's some of the water in this movie, and you know, it's called Waterworld. The last thing you want to see is inconsistency with the HDR on water. But for the most part, the movie does look good. I just was expecting a bit more from it. But if you are going to upgrade this movie and go onto the 4K, I think the reason to why you'd want to pick this up is for the new DTS:X soundtrack, which sounds fantastic. It really does. And it does kind of, you know, destroy that Arrow release, because you only get a regular DTS 5.1 audio on it. So I think if you are going to pick this up, maybe pick it up for the DTS:X soundtrack more than the picture itself. So that is my first pickup. That is Waterworld. Right, so up next we have got Jerry Maguire, probably one of my favourite Tom Cruise movies. I can't tell you how much I love this movie. Now, the only thing about this release was, I think this movie came out in America. It came in this, I think it was this, maybe a deluxe box set. I think Sony celebrating 50 years of Sony. I don't know what it was, but this movie was in that set. So it never got a singular release. And it never came out here at all over here. I'm nearly sure I am, and I'm sure you will correct me in the comment section, but I don't think it got a release over here on 4K. So I had to go to Amazon Germany to pick this movie up on 4K. And I'm kind of happy I did, because I managed to get it for €11, which is quite an amazing price for a 4K release. It's always great to get them on the cheap. The only thing I will say about this movie is, as much as I love it, I seen it around 3 weeks ago, and I can't honestly remember the 4K transfer. And I think that actually speaks volumes about this transfer. The only thing I do remember was I remember watching it and being very underwhelmed by it. I just didn't. It was one of them movies that just didn't lend well at all to 4K. It had a certain look. I won't say what you call a soft lens, but it was a very grimy looking movie. As far as I remember, it was a very grimy looking 4K transfer. And it just didn't do a whole lot for me. Maybe I need to watch it again and just kind of just refresh my mind on it. But as far as I remember, the 4K transfer was a bit of a letdown, which is a bit of a shame. But it does have a Dolby Atmos soundtrack, if I'm right in saying that, because Sony always does, yeah. It does have a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. Again, I cannot remember it. So hopefully in the comment sections you will let me know. But I do think that the picture quality was a bit of a letdown on this release, unfortunately. So yeah, that is my second pickup. That is Jerry Maguire. What a movie that is, by the way. Cuba Gooding Jr. Absolute well-worthy winner of his Oscar. Fantastic in that movie. Right, up next we have got WALLE. And I got this from Zavi. And for some strange reason, I only just found out about this. For some strange reason, Zavi have exclusive rights to a lot of these Disney movies on 4K. You can't get them anywhere else. You can't go into HMV, you can't go onto Amazon. They don't sell them, simply as. It's only Zavi that sells them. And you're kind of wondering who's actually doing the restorations on these movies. Look, in my eyes, this movie is an absolute masterpiece. Probably my favourite animated movie of all time. And when I knocked it on 4K, again, much like Waterworld, I was a little bit let down because I had the Blu-ray release of it, and I thought the Blu-ray looked absolutely fantastic. Like, I think I'd done my... it was actually my video where I was talking about my 36 years of collecting movies. WALLE was the first Blu-ray that I ever purchased. And I remember when I knocked that day well, and I knocked it on Blu-ray for the first time, and how blown away I was by it. But unfortunately, I didn't get it with the 4K release. It's just another one of them movies that... it's the colours that kind of gives you the upgrade more than anything else. Don't be expecting to see 4K razor sharp picture quality on this one. You're not going to get it. So it is going to be for the colour. The Dolby Atmos on this does sound amazing. The only problem is, again, like most of Disney's releases, you have to crank up the volume a little bit more. But other than that, I think you're going to be very happy with the Dolby Atmos soundtrack on it. And that is WALL-E. And like I said, absolutely, I think it's a masterpiece. I really do. Just tugs at me. Tugs at my heartstrings massively. Right, up next, I didn't think I was actually going to buy this movie on 4K. So we've got Doom. So I spoke about this fairly recently on one of my videos. I think it was my Flatliners video, where I said that this movie is, when it comes to dark picture, it doesn't get any darker than Doom. And that is true. And I don't know why I picked this movie up on 4K, because I remember seeing it on Blu-ray, and I remember how dark this movie looked. But I just thought maybe the HDR could do a lot to them blacks. And I have to admit, it really, really has. I actually had a great time watching this movie on 4K. Look, the movie itself is very questionable. You can clearly see that the director was heavily influenced by Predator and Aliens, and he seemed to try and splice them two movies together with Doom. He wasn't successful, but it's a stupish, dumb sci-fi action movie. And you know what? I do be entertained by it, and particularly the ending sequence. Anyone that has seen the movie, there's a scene at the end of the movie where they do this 10-minute scene where it's done in a first-person perspective, and just like the game, and it looks absolutely remarkable. The only problem I had was, like I said, for the most part, the transfer on this looks great, but I felt when that scene happened, that first-person perspective, I felt the quality dipped slightly on the picture quality. And that was a bit of a shame, because it's my favourite scene in the movie. But all in all, folks, if you are a fan of this movie and you were a little bit hesitant about picking this up on 4K, I don't think you have anything to worry about. It's a good transfer. And it also got a DTS-X soundtrack. And for the most part as well, this sounded quite amazing. Again, it could have done with a bit more bass to it. I thought it felt a bit light on the bass, particularly when they do a lot of shooting in this movie. You just want them guns to sound a bit more impactful, but it just wasn't quite there on this DTS-X. But for the most part, I think you'll be very happy with its sound, and I think you're going to be incredibly happy. With the picture as well. So that is Doom. Don't think there's too many fans for that movie out there. Right, so my last movie I'm going to be showing, and it is the Steelbook, and of course I have finally picked up Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So I picked this up from Amazon Italy. I actually picked it up a couple of weeks back. I just never had a chance to do a video on it. And what can I say about it? I've spoken to a few people about this. I'm starting to get massively fatigued with this Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not enjoying these movies as much as I want to be enjoying them. They seem to be massively inconsistent now in this Phase 4. Having said that, I have watched it. I enjoyed it. I was expecting it to be absolutely awful, just going by what people were saying about it. Now, I don't know why I thought I was going to hate it as much as I thought I was going to, because Sam Raimi directs it. I am a massive fan of Sam Raimi, and I thought he did an okay job with this movie. I enjoyed it. The only problem was, it's Multiverse of Madness, plenty of multiverse, not enough madness for me. But I'm intrigued. I am intrigued to see where they're going to go with it. But like I said, I am just getting a little bit fed up with Marvel at the moment. I think it's overkill now at the moment with the TV shows, the movies. We're getting 3 or 4 movies a year. it's too much. It really is too much. And I want to be enjoying these movies more than I actually am at the moment. But look, I still quite enjoyed this movie. And the 4K picture is decent on it. It's a native 4K disc as far as I remember as well. And yeah, just don't expect, again, a huge upgrade over your previous Blu-ray. But I think for the most part, it did look quite decent. And thankfully, and I never thought I'd say this, but the Dolby Atmos soundtrack is great. You know, Disney are a disaster when it comes to Marvel. And their soundtracks, because they just seem to be missing a lot of bass and all that. But like, this sounds absolutely amazing, and not only that, but the picture quality as well. Because a couple of the Disney releases from Marvel, the picture quality was massively darkened on them. And I have to admit now, the Dolby Vision is fine in this. It does slightly darken the picture over the Blu-ray, not by much. It definitely won't distract anyone. And yeah. I'm mostly satisfied with this movie. So that is everything, folks, that I picked up for the week. Like I said, good movies, very questionable 4K transfers, unfortunately. But look, they can't all be winners. So that is it, folks. That is it. So as per usual, if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you could leave a comment down below. And please do share your thoughts on some of these movies. And yeah, I hope to see you all again real soon with my next video. Until then, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.